talking about agro-food bioeconomy. Now we've had a break, let's resume with a session to analyze the challenges and opportunities that exist between the countryside and the dining tables. César Marcos Cabañas is coordinator and communication manager in ALAS, reporter on El Economista. He's going to moderate a panel brought to us thanks to the collaboration of Bayer. And the experts with him are Richard Borreani, Public Affairs Science and Sustainability Manager in Bayer Crop Series Iberia, María Segura Fornieles. Hello again, María.
Hello.
She is Deputy Director General and Technical Director in Alga Energy, and Gabriel Trenzano, Member of the Board of Directors in ALAS. Thank you, and it's your time.
Thank you very much. And thank you, everybody, all of you, for staying here to take a discussion about the opportunities or the challenge the European Green Pact. I like to explain a brief introduction about the European Green Pact. The European Green Pact, through the Farm to Fork or from farm to table strategy, promotes the European agricultural and agri-food sector as one of the main players in achieving the goal of turning Europe into the first continent climate neutral in 2050. To achieve this goal, biotechnology will be one of the essential tools through different ways such new genomic editing techniques, pests and disease control or animal health. In this panel, we will discuss how the farm to fork strategy can be a transforming tool for our industry or for society in general, highlighting the challenge we must overcome in the process of its implementation. For everybody, all of you, the first question: what is the overall opinion of industry, biotech companies, the farmers, about the strategy? How do you think it will affect the future development, the agriculture and food industry? Please comment both positive and negative opinions. Richard?
Good morning. First of all, thank you to Acebio for inviting us to this roundtable to speak about Farm to Fork. Farm to Fork is really at the center of the Green Deal strategy. And as César just commented, Farm to Fork has different objectives. And one of them is to have food security in Europe. It means to have available food. And we have our supermarket so full of food, so it doesn't seem so obvious, but it's not an easy task. At Bayer, we have a vision. Our vision is the health for all and hunger for none. And really, we welcome the European ambition to have a more resilient and a more sustainable food production system. Europe can be a global leader in the sustainable agriculture, but if its policy framework is based on science and innovation. We support the global objectives of this strategy, but we have also some concern regarding some specific targets. Climate change and environment degradation are one of the most important threats for farmers. And to fight against it, they need some tools. They need to have a complete toolbox in order to improve their productivity and also to preserve the natural resources. And this means high quality seeds, and biotechnology is at the center of seeds production. But it means also to have digital tools available, and they have to protect their crops, so to have crop protection tools.
Thank you very much. I'd like to hear the voice of the farmer here with Gabriel Trenzado, please.
Thank you, César, for the invitation, and thank you
for inviting here at Biospain. First of all, I would like to explain that I am working for Agri-Food Cooperative, Spanish Agri-Food Cooperative, but here I am representing ALAS, which is an initiative made from Spanish farmer unions, for fruit and vegetable exporters, for the Association of Conservation Farming, and of course for Agri-Food Cooperative. What is our objective? Our objective here in this debate, it's a large debate, a difficult debate, is that to face the debate with society in an open, frank, and scientific evidence base. And of course, we want to face this debate with sustainability in the three parts of the sustainability. I mean, not only environmental, but as well social and economy. Saying that, what is our vision of Farm to Fork and Biodiversity 2030 strategies? First of all, I think is a political willing that everybody's agree. I don't know any stakeholder who say, no, I am against. And producing sector is not against. But of course, we know what we want. We have marked certain objectives in the strategies, but we don't know how. And all the assessment studies have shown that there is a certain degree of improvisation to face a real change in the economic model. So we want to face this challenge in the future, just knowing what is going to happen, what is going to affect in the farms, in how we organize, and how is going to be the economy in the future, because we are going to produce food. The question is who and how, and the pace that what is going to happen in the next 10 years. The commissioner said we are not going to leave anybody behind, but as according to information we have, I think we are more in the strategic communication than the real debate based in the science.
Thank you very much. Maria, what's the opinion of another biotech company?
Yeah, from my point of view, the Farm to Fork strategy is a great challenge for the sector because it is ambitious, but it must be brought down to earth. At the same time, it is also a great opportunity to build a more sustainable sector, and we must seek that this is in all its aspects, not only environmental, but also social and economic. Bio companies must lead this transition by developing innovative, sustainable, but above all, highly efficient solutions.
Thank you very much. The Farm to Fork strategy encourages organic farming on a large scale. To its lower productivity, this may lead to further change in land use outside the EU and increase the EU dependence on agricultural imports, unless EU citizens radically change their consumption patterns, so hard by another very complex side. This is a question for Gabriel, for the farmers. How do you see this challenge and how to face it so as not to export an environmental footprint to geographical areas that are also late recipients of biodiversity, as is the case in the countries of America, Africa, or of the Southeast Asian, for example?
So it is a very interesting question because, of course, when we get 25% of organic production, okay, but we only put the accent in what is going to be produced, but we are not point out that who is going to produce and do we have any income for that. So and we won't have any, let's say, green farming in red numbers, let's be clear. If we want to achieve 25% of organic surface, okay, we're not going to say against, we're going to say, okay, who is going to do it? Because more organic farming is, let's say, decrease yields. In theory, we increase prices, and the market is going to absorb all of that, which is not the case. Because organic farming nowadays is no more than 6%, in the market. In surface, a little bit more higher. So what do we have to do? What is going to be the effect in the current farms? Because an organic now is a niche market, okay? So if you go, an example, you take an olive oil, it is organic, you know that in the market now is 20% more in price. What happened with 25% more organic olive oil? I think the price is going to change. Because we haven't seen, and all the assessment impact studies we have seen, I think we have seen, the USDA impact assessment last year. In August, the European Commission with the Young Research Center. We have the Kiel University study. I think it's something arriving from Wageningen. They are saying, okay, we cannot to say how is it going to react the food chain. If you see the current structure of production, I don't see any current organic farming is a small or medium size having more surface in order to be, let's say, more productive, to get more income. Because when you overcome 10% in the market of any product, organic or not, price, we say in France, banalise les produits. So it's becoming a commodity. So who is going to invest on that? I mean, I see investment groups or whatsoever, but not the real farms. So that kind of questions is that we cannot foresee, and we need that information. What is going to happen in the market in order to adapt, and who is going to stay away from the sector in the next 10 years. Because this is critical to know how it's going to be, let's say, what farm we're going to have in the next 10 years, how we're going to occupy the rural areas, and so on. It could be really radical in the next 10 years.
Very interesting. What is the role of innovation to successfully implement the farm to fork strategy? Will the industry be able to be more sustainable and competitive with the current regulatory hurdles? This is a question from all of you. Richard, the first.
Well, for me, innovation is a must. It is a must not only due to the farm to fork strategy, it is a must because we have a very, very big challenge in front of us, which is how to fill the increasing world population, respecting and preserving the planet. So it's not easy to solve it. And doing this in a very, very limited area of land. Because who is producing our food today are the farmers. Everything is coming from the field. Because on the same field, they have to produce food for humans, they have to produce food also for animals, and they have to produce not food, but elements for the industry. Biodiesel, cotton for clothes, and so on. And it's really, it's a very difficult task. And only science and innovation is the solution. And we have to improve and to support the innovation based on science. And one example are biotechnologies, and you mentioned new genomic techniques as examples. It's wonderful. We can discuss later on about the benefits who can be provided by these technologies. But we need a specific legislation. We cannot live with a legislation which has more than 25 years. So that's something really, really important, and we cannot lose this train. Otherwise, we will have to import food from other continents. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that it is really sustainable. And if I make a parallel, we are in a complete biotechnology forum with the colleagues which are in the other room with human health. Nobody is questioning the biotechnology in human health. If we have today a vaccine against the COVID-19, it's thanks to the biotechnology. And we are receiving applause from the people to have it. In plants, it seems something a bit different.
Maria.
From my point of view, the investments that are being made are not small, and they are helping to unravel the large matrix of variables that influence agricultural practices, so that it can be distinguished when, why, and how, for example, biostimulants products work. This is making it possible to improve technical recommendations for use and improving the experience of farmers, while providing a solid basis for the development of new products that seek specific objectives. Thus, progress is being made towards precision agriculture, when the efforts made by companies and R&D centers in terms of innovation are essential. These efforts must be supported by the institutions through clear and transparent regulation that combines sustainability and competitiveness.
Thank you. What should be the role of innovation, the science for the farmers?
Well, it is clear it's key, I mean, for the future. The question of how to reach everybody gets the innovation and the investment. In Alas, we have promote a manifesto for the agri-science that we invite to all the stakeholders to be part of it, in order to encourage not only innovation, science, digitalization, in order to be competitive. Because if you are not competitive, it means it's not, you don't have income, it's impossible to invest on that. And of course, to apply, to really act in favor of climate change, in a right way. I would like to add as well that the key question here is, of course, we have here a lot of companies, but your consumers are not final consumers. Your consumers are farmers at the end of the day. So if with the structure we have in Spain, and Spain is really a strong producing country, remind us that we are the 8th world country at global level in producing. So, but our structures are really small and medium, and I will say micro and small, even no medium. So if all these initiatives, we don't get the farmers cooperate, they could have access to those investments, you are going to lose a lot of customers, and you will have really big customers, big companies who are going to use your technology, but of course not the small ones. So that for me is critical. Innovation and how to make the farmers participate of that profit.
Thank you very much. In the field of biostimulants, what is the current situation and how will the roadmap of the European Green Deal affect you in the coming years? This is a question naturally for Bayer or Alganich.
Thank you. It should be noted that the contribution of agrobiological inputs that include biostimulants is already significant, with a size of about $10 billion. The forecast shows its markets will grow 4 times between 2020 and 2030 globally. One of the drivers of this growth is regulatory trends, such as the Green Deal, which aims to drastically cut chemical pesticides in half and chemical fertilizers by 20%. To us, as suppliers of these types of inputs, biostimulants, that replace chemicals, these regulatory trends are more than welcome, and especially when they are fully aligned with social trends, market demand, and advances in research. Our products have already shown that they can replace 20% of nitrogen fertilizers today, so there is no need to wait until 2030. However, we believe that this restriction policies should be accompanied by other incentives policies than greater science-based regulatory flexibility. In the field of biostimulants, for example, the new European regulation will soon come into force, but it is very limited in terms of microorganisms that can be classified as biostimulants. The same goes for gene modification, that there is still a resistance to it, although we know that it will be a large part of the solution to our problems. In short, we fully share the objectives, but we believe that we must be more insistent to achieve them through incentives and flexible regulation based more on science, as Michael said. We have to use all the tools we have to help our farmers reach the objectives set for them.
Richard?
Well, I will not repeat what Maria just said. I totally agree with what she just mentioned. What we need really, and not only for biostimulants, but also for gene editing and other kind of biotechnologies, is to have really an adequate, transparent, and predictable legislation. And we need it very urgently because The objective of the Farm to Fork is 2030, and 2030 is tomorrow. We have only less than 9 years now to achieve the objectives, and to develop new technologies, to develop new products, takes quite a long time. So really, we need to have the support to innovate.
Thank you very much. The following question is very important, it's a key from the point of view of consumers and environment. What can you tell us about the potential benefits of the Farm to Fork strategy?
Well, I'm going to be very, let's say, provocative here, because this morning I was hearing you speaking about consumers' awareness, and you know that consumer could be me, could be you, could be any person who sit and respond to several questions. What do you think about this? And after he goes to supermarket, he takes decisions, or she takes decisions. And it's the same person. I take different decisions that he has saying in the questionnaire. So what is the opportunity of Farm to Fork for a production perspective and cooperative perspective? If the opportunity to afford with society an open debate, and let's say educate. I will say educate in terms of information, making pedagogy. Okay, because I mean now policymakers, they are dealing with this important change of model in a way that we are not debating the most important. So how we are going to reach all those objectives, we are really worried. I mean, nobody is asking, okay, we are going to put you limitation in production, but are you going to limit the market? Because we are in a competition atmosphere. You want organic farming, and what about all the rest of sustainable kind of a form of production? Which, I mean, because organic farming is not useful for all kind of surfaces. So this is an opportunity to inform, this opportunity to have an open debate, and of course, opportunity for the sector that the mistake we have had in the maybe last 30 years is not communicate to our consumers. We have always communicated with companies and intermediates, but not with the consumer. And this is a good opportunity to say, okay, we are not against. We have to take the good pace, time, and the right way in order to, if we really want to reach the objective.
Richard, what is your opinion about it?
Well, just speaking about consumers, and I am one of them, what do we want? We want food of quality. We want affordable food. We are concerned about climate change. We are concerned about biodiversity loss. We are concerned about environment protection. But the consumers must believe in the science and in the innovation. Because what we cannot do is to come back to the Middle Age. In the Middle Age, we were less than 400 million of people on this planet. 100 years ago, we were 2,000 million. Today, we are close to 8,000 million, and tomorrow will be 10,000 million. So, thanks to the science, and I will just take one example, which is biotechnology in seeds. What can we do? We can have seeds more resistant or needing less water. We can have seeds more productive on the same area, producing more. We can have seeds resistant to pests and diseases. We can have seeds resistant to higher temperature. We can have seeds also needing less fertilizers, more nutritive, having new properties. For example, a wheat without gluten, and I think that the celiac people will appreciate it. We can have rice with A vitamin. So all of these are benefits not only for the farmers, of course for the farmers, but also for the environment and for the consumers. And these new technologies, they bring the new technology, the new characteristic, much more quicker than before. We need less time, and it is much more precise. And it can be done not only by the big societies, but by the big companies. But there's a lot of small companies which are innovating in this field.
Maria?
I fully agree, Richard and Gabriel. We cannot forget, of course, the food safety, which is a priority. we must guarantee food sufficiency without exceeding the limits of the planet. We have to reduce the use or halve the use of pesticides and fertilizers and sale macrobials, increase the land dedicated to organic farming, and reduce food loss, and of course reduce the waste.
Thank you. This is a question of many farmers, no? How can we encourage farmer and producer to incorporate these new technologies and innovation to contribute to their progress and development to be able to consumer? This is an important question.
Well, first saying that I think that everybody knows that the farmers are the first who are supporting the climate change. So it's in their interest to participate on this. Second, they need a lot of advisory system, good advisory system. Because, we have a really huge percentage of farmers which are part-time. I mean, they are taxis, teachers, or whatsoever, and they have their farm. They need advice because they have no time to do that. They need to invest. And the best way to do it is just to encourage cooperation. We can have cooperation among farmers, cooperation amongst different stakeholders in the food chain, and it is not going to weak, competition. We can cooperate in all those aspects which are in the common interest, because this is for all, in order to reinforce competition and to make a real activity, a real economic activity, because a farm is a company. It's a small company, it's a family company, it's a company. Now income, later soon, is going to close. What is happening now? Because we don't have young people. We had an average of 65 years old, most of the farmers. So they are not going to be here in 2030. So it is really critical. So we need to make them cooperate in order to make easier the access to these old new technologies. If we want.
Probando. ¿Se oye?
Sí.
Kind of companies where are really economic from the really efficient and competitive economically, it's okay.
Sí.
But we have left on beside, the social part and economic part. I will have an impact in how we occupy the land, the rural areas, and impact on how we organize economically in most of the region of European Union.
Thank you. Richard?
Well, first of all, I think that the farmers to be able to fight against, not against, but to improve their productivity, to fight against climate change, the use of natural resources and soil and water, they need to have a complete toolbox, because we have so many different situations at farm level that they need complete toolbox and choose the tools they are needing in that case, precisely. So that's for me the first point, because as we mentioned before, they are producing our food. If farmers will disappear, what will we eat in the future? And it's not easy for the farmers to produce, because they are fighting against the weather conditions. They are fighting at market level. They have to be competitive at market level. And the policies should help them, not put barrier to their productivity. So, and just an example, digitalization. Well, they need to be able to use the digital tool, precision farming tools in the field. If there are no connection, it's very difficult. So they need to have the structure. And we have to help them. We have to train them, to inform them, and to train them for the new technologies. They must know how to use them. So it's a combination of all these aspects who can help the farmer to continue producing in a more sustainable way.
Thank you.
Okay, so from our position as a biotech company, I think that the first thing to do is to explain the applicability of our solutions. If we know how to explain why a product works, what does in the plant, what does in the fruit, and what happens at the end of the harvest, we can defend it well. And the farmer can understand the solution that we are trying to incorporate in their work. And the second thing is through education. It is not just communicating, it's going to the field, measuring with them, analyzing together, and seeing the results together. And these results can be translated into benefits. So in this sense, we can speak at the same language. So it's going together with the farmer from our position, which is, as I mentioned, a biotech company with highly effective solutions.
Thank you very much. Before the close of the panel of the session, I'd like to hear some question of the audience. Please, anything else? Any question? No hands? Okay. I'd like to hear the next steps. What should be the next steps for the strategy, Farm to Fork strategy? I'd like to take a brief conclusion for each one. Richard?
Okay, so for me, we have to be all the actors aligned. We have to be all aligned in the direction of science and innovation. And when I say all the actors, farmers, industry, politicians, administration, we have to go into that direction. And for me, that's the next step. And biotechnology, as mentioned before, is key, but it's not the only element. And we have to play with the different elements we have in our hands, or we could have in our hands, like digitalization, like crop protection, nutrition of the plant, in order to go to this famous sustainability.
I agree, Richard. All the actors must be aligned in next steps. The strategy is a great challenge, but also it's a great opportunity for the agri-food sector, and specifically for the biotech sector, which must lead this transition towards a greener Europe.
Well, first of all, let's continue to open debate. So I really thank Azevio for this debate. It's compulsory to do it. I think I not agree. The stakeholders are not in line, but we can agree the way how we can debate, and that's fundamental. We need more impact assessment study. We know what is happening to the door in the farm and what the consumer do in terms of price and value, but we don't know anything about what is happening in the middle of the food chain, no data. So if we don't know that, we cannot assess what is going to happen with this strategy, unless from the economic point of view. We need policy coherence. We are saying to farmers, you have this limitation, you have to reach that, you can use this substance, you don't have alternative. This have an immediately impact, an instant, today, in the economy of the farm. And we say, well, about reciprocity, about level playing field, you're right. But let's see in the next debate how we negotiate with United States, with New Zealand, with Australia. And it could take years. So this is kind of coherence. If we don't have, the impact will be even higher. So after that, the strategy is a communication. It set political objective. But we need to start to work because, as Richard said, we have only 9 years. And we need to see what is going to happen with the regulation. We need to start to work. And we need, of course, a strategy to invest time to get farmers can really start to work on that and not only to be criticized because they are not sustainable. I think this is not fair. Farming is part of the solution. Of course, I have heard this is true. It's part of the solution because they are going to manage environmental. If they don't do, who's going to do it?
Thank you very much. Gabriel, Maria, Richard, to stay here on this, I think that interesting opinions about to explain the Farm to Fork strategy on, I think, is need impact study for the farmers, for the companies, and for the society, in knowledge. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.